he's not playing and he can't stay fit, then the club will move him on. But let's just be very smart. Let's take a second and be very smart. I guess another one of our players that we want to be included in conversations such as Ballon d'Or, Emile Smith Rowe. I think we have got like a one cameo performance out of him off the bench from when the season started. And we've played what now? 4 games?
Who did he play against? I don't even think. Is he Thomas bench? I don't think he has.
No, don't do that.
I don't think so, bro.
Who did we had? Forest?
Yeah.
Crystal Palace?
Yeah.
Who's the game we drew? Fulham. He didn't come off the bench at Forest.
Nah, because I remember we were fine at 2-0. I think after 2-1, all I remember is Gabriel coming up.
Oh my God.
I don't think he's touched pitch, like I said.
So Emile Smith Rowe hasn't touched pitch this season in four games. I know Arteta recently said that, you know, in September the matches are going to pick up and there's going to be more opportunities and stuff like that. But I guess it's always going to be hard to take. You know, we've played 4 games. I guess the best part of maybe around 15, 16, 17 players must have been used at this point. Yeah. And you're not one of them. Like, I don't know what the future holds for Smith Rowe, bro, honestly. And I think there's definitely an eye with the club having an eye on him in regards to these injuries and maybe just not wanting to trust him. Like, why should we give him time if this guy then turns around tomorrow and gets injured? It's like, well, you know, what are we gonna do now? Like, do you think this is the end of the road for Smith Rowe at Arsenal?
It's definitely, how can I say this? Let's say the end of the road is in sight, but there's a one left turning he can take to come off, and this is his last. Like, if he goes past that turning and you don't take it, it's done. Yeah, this season is pivotal for him, and I just hope he gets the opportunity, because he's come out and he spoke about playing in constant pain on that hip or pelvis area, and how now
post
post surgery, he said, like, no more pain, like, to play without it, it's just an amazing feeling, and he's ready to just put in work. He had a good under-21s tournament, and like I said, Arteta's spoken about the players who haven't played, and just how the minutes will be there. And for the first time, I really do feel like there will be that opportunity, because Arteta would be a madman to not obviously employ rotation. We come back and we play Everton, and then we have PSV at home on the 20th, and then we have Tottenham. Like, and then it's again, I think it's another Champions League game. No, we have even a Carabao somewhere in there against Brentford. So we're going to see Raya. We're going to see Smith Rowe. We're going to see Trossard. Who else is even there? There's players who, you know, haven't played much, even Nelson. These are the opportunities now where the competition's really going to start, because if I get a brace or I start to perform, you know, players are going to be rotating in and out, substitute. Oh, you know, you put yourself to the top of the pecking order. So with Smith Rowe, I'm really hoping that this international break, he's mashing work at Coney, and he's saying, I know my time is coming and I'm coming to shine. He's got the 10 on his back. Like, you know what I mean?
Trust me.
The 10 on the bench. Like, yeah, it's crazy. And we all want to see him do well. Whether or not he's going to have that same role, it seems like the left 8 role is kind of like being the position where he can play it, because it seems the left or the right, there's just maybe too many players with enough stock that he doesn't have, unfortunately. But yeah, like, the end of the road is in sight. And what's worrying me again is that if he doesn't have a great season or it ends in injury, his resale value is going to absolutely plummet. This season, if the right club came in, we could have sold him from anywhere between high 40s to like 60 million. He has another poor season, we might not even see 35, you know, without add-ons and stuff. So, yeah.
It's a tough one to take, man. And it's funny, like, he's effectively used the England under-21 tournament, which they won. So he's got another taste of silverware there. as his pre-season, because he didn't get much of pre-season with us, if any. And he looked sharp. He wasn't someone that was starting that tournament, went in their first game, but I think the second game he had come on, changed the game, and that was it. He was in the first team again, and proving his worth in that first 11 for the England boys. And you would think off the back of that, it's like, right, walk into Arsenal team now. Like that number 8 position, right? You went and copped Kai Havertz. Like, I don't really appreciate you doing that, innit? And he's not playing well. But now, like you're saying, I've got to prove my worth. Like it's either there, or it's either he is the second left wing or the backup behind Martinelli, which I don't think is a bad position for him either, given the injury record as well. And on a side note here, I don't know if Arsenal still see Martinelli's future down the middle as opposed to as a winger. So that could always still crop up for Smith Rowe as an opportunity. It frightened me in the summer, or I say summer, a couple of weeks back, when Chelsea were rumoured to be in for my man. I said, piss off, get lost.
Bro, that one can't happen.
It can't run. Like, I don't want him to leave. Like, at all. I don't want him gone. But I understand, if he's not playing and he can't stay fit, then the club will move him on. But let's just be very smart. Let's take a second and be very smart with where we move him on to.
100%.
Not Chelsea. I don't care if he's had ties there. He played there as an under 5-year-old. I don't care. We can't send him there.
No. Yeah, brother. I just feel like it's with the madness that's going on at Chelsea. I would just hope he's got the team around him to just be like, listen, nobody knows what's going on at Chelsea. They're just stockpiling players. You can't get caught up in that mess. But for Smith Rowe, and I think as frustrating as it might be as a whole, because I was like the talisman like 2 seasons ago, it was me that they were relying on for goals.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. As he's got to look at Fabio Vieira's example, and when you're not in the starting 11, you don't get the opportunities to mess up. Saka, he's played a poor bad pass back that cost us a goal. People will say, despite the stats, he's not really had a flying start to the season, which is quite normal for him. Havertz hasn't really had any exemplary game. You see Gabriel, he's touched bench now. When you're coming off the bench, you have to. There's no room for error. Fabio Vieira has come on 3 times, I think, now. And in each time, he's shown a lot of fight, energy. He's made things happen. Smith Rowe has to do that as well. And it would seem, in my opinion, that he's going to get the opportunity to start. I think might be one of the League Cup game, or maybe even a Champions League, come off the bench. He's going to get his chance, and he has to. It can't be a lackluster performance. We need to see shots, dribbles, good passes, influence. He needs to be seen again. And if he's seen, then he's in the manager's mind, he's in our minds, and then we're on the manager's back to be like, how can you not play this guy? Right now, we're just doing our loyalty. Not blind loyalty because we know there's a player in there. Yeah. But until he comes off the pitch and starts proving it, we're going to still be on the manager's back. But it's up to him to come off the bench, to start a game, and to say, yo, whatever position you stick me in, I'm going to absolutely rock it. So whenever someone does slip up, Arteta could be like, you know what, I'm going to slide you in, or I'm going to put you in this way, here, blah, blah, blah. And that's the way he's going to get back in. He has to start from the bottom again, unfortunately. But yeah, like you said, maybe it's down to the injuries, availability, the way he plays, his defensive effort as well. Maybe there's loads of factors at play. But if he wants to stay in Arsenal, if he wants to be Arsenal's number 10, then he's going to have to come with a massive impact in one of these games and be consistent. And then maybe, he might not always be starting. I don't think he will, but at least he'll be someone who's involved in the squad, who can come in when there's injuries. He'll be the first name, second name that Arteta thinks of. Yeah, I'm going to slide Smith Rowe in there. Yep, he's our guy. And if he continues playing well, why would I drop him?
Yeah. It's crazy because, like you said, we were relying on this guy years back now. We were relying on him to score goals and pick up the ball, and even then, before he had that season or half a season, whatever it was, he was nearly out the door.
Yeah,
he was nearly out the door, and then it's just like it all came alive against was it Chelsea, I think, around Christmas time, and everything changed, and we need that guy. We need that guy again, because his ability, like we're talking about, just holding on to clutches and him getting an opportunity, but his own ability is stupid. It's ridiculous. Like, he is a fantastic football player. Straight from the school of the cage ballers, or anything that the streets, ultimately, someone that's played in ends and just has that like ridiculous kind of flair about him. He's incredible, and I feel like as Arsenal fans, we're beginning to drive ourselves to a point of the insanity of, Smith Rowe was great 2 years ago. Like, I'm sick of saying that, man. I don't want to say, like, it's now, like, anyone that you're classing as good has to have performed at least within the last year, 6 months of the year. Like, we're here hanging our hat on something a man done 2 years ago. Like, Saka was even banging that same season, and look where Saka has moved on to now, sort of thing. Like,
and that's the thing, bro.
The injuries are definitely a part, but like, I'm not holding on to, like you said, when he does make that appearance this season, in the next couple of games, whatever it's gonna be, I'm just gonna have to be very realistic myself. Maybe it's kind of preparing myself for the worst, and I just have to be like, right, this is any other academy graduate, and let's see what he's about, and let's see if he cuts the mustard in this team. We talk about, we have been talking about the evolution of this team and how quickly it's changed in, the last 2 years. So whatever a man is doing 2 years ago, it's void. It's void now. It's really void, because we've seen the stars of yesteryear, like Tierney, can't even command a transfer fee and leave the club permanently. Like, it's literally void. Football is different from 2 years ago. So everything Smith Rowe does now is just like, we just have to look at it from, clean slate. This is what he's doing right now.
100%. We have to take off the rose-tinted glasses. We're gonna see Smith Rowe spray a Diaga. We're gonna be like, Tennessee, you got to start him. You know what I mean? And it's a shame. I really hope, because he reminds me, or what I've heard about his personality is kind of similar to like a Pepe, in terms of he's a lot more quieter, can be a bit more introverted. I just hope he's got his guys, even his teammates, in his ear. Like, when your time comes, bro, you know what I mean? You have to be on it, because it must be really difficult for him. Him and Saka were like carrying the team. People were saying that Smith Rowe saved Arteta's job with that Chelsea game. You know what I mean? And there was a time he was battling with Martinelli. He was on par with Saka, one of our most important players, wearing the number 10 on his back. And now he's had to, due to unfortunate injuries, he's watched Saka go into the stratosphere for England. There was times where Smith Rowe was getting called up to England, getting his first goal. Martinelli as well was like, who's going to start? Who's better? Now he can't even, Martinelli's gone. He's too far. Saka, gone. He's now, wrestling with Fabio Vieira, wrestling with Havertz, thinking maybe I could get ahead of Trossard. And these aren't crap players. These are players who are doing their thing, minus Havertz for the meantime, but these are still players with quality. And he's now got to rise to the top again and try to even get back to where he was, which is going to take phenomenal effort, phenomenal performances. And I just really hope he has that in him. Really do.
I'll just finally add that as an academy graduate, all these kind of young players trying to get their way into the side, ultimately the example is Saka, right? Yeah. Don't mince my words here. The example is Saka as to how to kind of nail down your position and kick on from there. But if there's anyone else they should look up to, it is Eddie Nketiah. And this isn't part of my agenda and love story for Eddie Nketiah, but Eddie Nketiah has shown the determination. He's physically in his body changed. He showed the determination and the drive, because he probably knows this is my chance to play top level football.
Yeah.
Because if I'm moving from here, I'm moving down. Unless, you know, I go to another down team and rebuild myself to get another top move.
Yeah.
Smith Rowe, again, as good as we know he is, technically like a killer player, like we were saying, injuries is what's going to be the deciding factor of his career. He may get a move to Chelsea, God forbid. But then if he can't keep fit at Chelsea, it will only be down from there. Chelsea's already down from where we are. Let's be completely frank. Yeah. So you see what I mean? Like, they should all look at just the drive. Smith Rowe, Vieira, Nelson. These men should be looking at Nketiah and just be like, it's now or never. Like, this is me, my chance at playing at one of the biggest clubs in the world. Because if I can't get it together from here, you will see me turning up for flipping Watford and Luton and Crystal Palace and them, man. Like,
you know, when the commentators would be like, had a stellar start to his career at Arsenal where he scored 10 goals in one season, and it would be such a shame. But I'm with you 100%. And I think, like you said, Eddie's a great example because Eddie hasn't always shined on the pitch. He's shined behind closed doors, you know. So there is a way back for him if he's able to show the grit and determination that Eddie always shows, that, and he turns up at the right time. You know, there's times where you're like, oh, I'm not really sure. Then Eddie turns up and finally gets his chance and bags 2 against Chelsea. He comes up, another chance, he scores here. He comes on, he works hard. You know what I mean? Continuously adding and grinding. He's showing that, yo, like, I'm not letting this slip out of my hands. I think there was a quote he even said about people from where he's from, you know, and even people where we're from, bro. You know, people don't feel, nobody's feeling sorry for you if you don't do this or don't do that. You know what I mean? You have to make your own way. It's not about here like, oh, I didn't get this or I didn't get blah, blah, blah. It's about, you got to make your own way and you got to do your all to do it, because nobody's feeling sorry for you. You know, there's no handouts. It's get it or become food, or, you know, you don't become what you want to become. And then it's just that, it's a shame. You know what I mean? So we need a bit of that. Like you said, for all these key players. And as much as we can praise Eddie, Eddie's still somewhat in that boat where he still had to constantly prove himself, but he's proven that he's up to the task. So like you said, Smith Rowe, Eddie, Nelson, all these players that are getting like second chances almost, or having to reprove themselves. It's an ongoing thing until you reach the heights where your talent is undeniable.